Hello, everyone. I don't know what to say right now. I'm Miles here with Jackson from the Runnin the Paint podcast. It is 1:02 in the morning.
I'm very tired.
Yeah, very tired. And one of the craziest trades in NBA history just broke down, and we are here for the emergency podcast to talk about it. A three-team trade between the Mavericks, Lakers, and Jazz, sending Luka to the Lakers along with Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. And Anthony Davis is going to the Mavericks along with Max Christie and a 2029 first-round pick. And Utah will take on Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 second-round picks. Jackson, well, I'll say my thing first. First, I was about to fall asleep. I was basically asleep. I had just finished watching the Lakers get one of their best wins of the season at New York from Saturday night. And I'm almost asleep, and then I get the tweet from Shams, and I'm like, bro, he has to be hacked, right? Like,
I don't even know. I don't know.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. What were you about to fall asleep?
So, as people here might know, I watched the Royal Rumble earlier in the WWE, and that shocked me because I was surprised with the outcome. And I was like, oh, I'm about to go to bed. I'm probably not going to be shocked the rest of the night, right? No. I saw the text that Miles sent. I was like, oh, he's just hacked, right? Like, I'm not going to believe this until, like, the Lakers or somebody posts it. And then I saw it was being posted everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay. And at first I was like, wow, the Lakers really won that trade. And I had thought about it. I'm like, wow, they kind of got fleeced.
Oh, all right, we got a hot take already on here, man. There is certainly a lot to dissect with this trade. I mean, look, just flat out. I mean, dude, this just came out of absolute nowhere. I mean, we've been talking for weeks about Jimmy Butler. In the last week, De'Aaron Fox could get traded with the deadline coming up, on Thursday, and then all of a sudden we have two future Hall of Famers in their prime getting traded for each other. I mean, this has the potential to be a top trade of all time. This is unbelievable.
I think it is the craziest trade of all time. Like, when was the last time a top 7 player was traded for another top 7 to 10 player?
Especially in the middle of the season. This is absolutely unbelievable. But apparently, before we dive into, each team and what it could look like for them moving forward, apparently the deal on this from the Lakers side of things is that a couple of weeks ago, Anthony Davis sat down with ESPN, had an interview about the Lakers season, and he had mentioned that he was basically that he thought that they should have another center on the roster to play with him, basically criticizing the roster moves on their team, which we all look like at it like makes sense. I mean, 80's played the best when he's at the 4. And then on the Mavericks side of things, they were concerned with Luka's potential conditioning problems and health going forward as we come up on the offseason where Luka is eligible for a Supermax contract. And this is all kind of quiet stuff, and it just comes all together like this. Like I don't know what to say. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I already said my opinion on it. I think looking at it, thinking about it, I feel like the Mavericks may or may not have just committed highway robbery. Because
this is the thing. Everyone, like you said, everyone right now is like, man, this is like a fireable offense for Nico Harrison. Like, this is the worst trade ever for the Mavericks. I'm sure Mavericks fans are going to wake up and be like, man, what is going on? We traded Luka, and he didn't even request a trade. Like, that's the other thing. How often do you see a trade with a top 5 player in the league that didn't request a trade out? Like, this never, ever, ever happens. Like, I can't even remember the last time something like that would have happened. Like, I know Kareem got traded, but he even requested that. That's probably the biggest name to have gotten traded in their prime. These two getting traded, just for each other. But no, for the Mavericks.
Too.
What's up?
KD in his prime.
But he also, I guess he kind of requested out too after Kyrie Irving did.
No, I'm saying like from Golden State.
Oh, true. In a sign-in trade. So technically, that is correct. But anyways, this completely changes the whole entire dynamic of the NBA, the postseason, the way these teams look, I guess let's start with the Dallas Mavericks side of things. So
I love
this
it.
trade, Jackson, you like it for the Mavericks? I mean, this is so weird. Like, how do you say we like trading Luka, but with the way their roster looks, it looks pretty deep as we move forward in the season.
I mean, I'm not even looking at just AD. I mean, they got back Max Christie in the deal too, who the Lakers have been like up in arms about how much potential they see in this guy, and here they are trading him. Like, and I don't think he's gonna be like. I think he's gonna be like the Josh Green role from last year, which they kind of needed. I mean, Quentin Grimes has kind of been that, but I wouldn't mind seeing them maybe move Quentin Grimes into the starting lineup over obviously Clay. I mean, I feel like they maybe should consider buying out Clay. I know he hasn't been that good, but I mean, I don't know. They got a good thing of young talent on this team now. I mean, PJ Washington's still young. You could put him at the three, where I feel like he might be better at the three, just because he's a great perimeter defender, and you can have him next to AD and Gafford. The defense is insane.
Yeah, we're looking at a starting five for Dallas that probably will start out looking like Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson in the backcourt, because Klay has still been, pretty good this season shooting wise. PJ Washington probably at the three, Anthony Davis at the four, and then when Lively comes back from his injury, Lively at the five. And AD now plays the four with like one of the best center combinations in basketball. Like this is all that Anthony Davis, could have asked for here. And he even waived his trade kicker to make this trade happen to help the Mavericks have some more cap space going forward. And then you even look at the depth that the Mavericks have as well. Their second unit, Spencer Dinwiddie, Max Christie, Quentin Grimes, Najee Marshall, and then Gafford or Lively, whoever wants to come off the bench. It's a very, very deep rotation.
Everyone's been well in that 10-man. That's great, dude. Like, I think this is a team that could take down OKC.
Well, yeah. So look, Dallas, they've obviously had a very up and down season. I mean, that's another part of this. They traded away Luka, an MVP candidate, a top player in basketball, not even a year after making the NBA Finals. Like, this is ridiculous. But Luka obviously plays his last game in a Maverick uniform on Christmas Day, where he strains his calf. And then the Mavericks are kind of up and down, since then, winning some games here or there, but getting used to kind of life without Luka Doncic before this trade happens. But they are currently, I believe, 26-23 on the season, which has them ninth in the Western Conference, obviously in the play-in tournament. Jackson, you think that this team has the potential to do some special things in the playoffs? I mean, now you've got a 1-2 punch with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis.
I think those two are going to play really, really well together. I don't know, man. It's just insane. I really think the Mavericks pulled off a really, really good deal here. I'm impressed. And to add to this whole thing, another report that I just saw is that until tonight, Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks were in talks for a 5-year, $345 million contract.
Yeah.
And I guess he just didn't accept it. I don't know. But like, man.
Or no, it sounds like the Mavericks didn't want to do that. That's why they traded him.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it sounds like. And dude, that could end up costing the Mavericks so much down the line, because Luka has obviously over the first, let's see, so he's going to finish having played 6.5 years for Dallas, and he's already their second best player in franchise history behind Dirk, you could say. I mean, I don't really think it's that close. I think it's Luka, one of the best players in Maverick history, getting traded, a guy that obviously started out great young in his career, and this can we'll talk about the Lakers going forward, but a guy that's set to be a perennial MVP candidate for the next several years, trading him away, to go with some more defenders on the team, because that is one thing that Dallas now has. When you take a look at that starting five,
even the bench, man.
Even the bench is fantastic as well. Like, even like the only deficiencies in the whole really lineup now are like Kyrie Irving, who we saw at times, we've seen at times throughout his career that he can show effort defensively and play well on that end. And Klay Thompson, who's, obviously later in his career, but even if he's not defending that well, you can put in Grimes, you can put in Christie, and then that just makes your bench better. The Mavericks look really good on paper. Jackson, if you had to put a number on it, obviously we're an hour after the trade with these, raw reactions. Not looking at the standings or anything at all like that right now, where would you put the Mavericks in the Western Conference? Obviously not having seen anything, with this team on the court yet, just looking at it on paper.
All biased aside, because my team is obviously second in the rankings right now. Probably second. I think maybe first. I think it's a little too soon to say that. But I love this lineup. I think the starters are great. I think AD and Kyrie are going to complement each other so perfectly. And I think this team's built for the playoffs too. I mean, just looking at it, defense, who also have guys who can get buckets. I mean, PJ Washington's been fantastic for them this year. AD's, I think, going to provide a lot as a defensive anchor, and he's going to help Lively and Gafford a lot offensively as well, while also helping them defensively. And I think this does a lot for the Mavericks. I think in the future and the current state of their team, I really, really like this deal.
I like it for Dallas as well. I mean, looking at the Western Conference, obviously OKC's the huge favorite right now. We saw Dallas take them out in the postseason, and now they have the bigs to kind of match with the Thunder once Hartenstein and Holmgren end up becoming, that front court for OKC. But even other teams that were favorites in the West, you've got teams like Denver who are always a threat with Jokic. And we kind of talked about this in our group chat a little bit. This team is now kind of built just like Minnesota last year that went to the Western Conference Finals. Ironically enough, lost to Dallas. But Dallas now has four front court players with Washington, Davis, Gafford, and Lively that can all, try and defend Jokic and obviously make things difficult. We saw how that worked for the Nuggets last season. Defensively, it could just make a huge difference. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I think if there is any question with this Dallas team, it is the fact that when you're looking at the two star players now with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, these are two players that have thrived as number two guys that are now going to have to try and figure out who's going to be number one, who's going to be number two. I don't know if that'll be a problem or anything like that going forward. I just think that's an interesting note that these are two number two guys now forming together.
Man, I feel like AD though has been a number one. I mean, maybe that's just me, but maybe not in the bubble, but last 2 years maybe.
That's true.
He's been the number, and I mean, Pelicans AD, that dude was something else, man.
And even Boston Celtics Kyrie Irving was, very good as well.
Yeah, but I think Kyrie should go into a more Robin role and let AD kind of, or maybe even just both. It's 1A, 1B. We've seen that. I mean, we've seen that in the past.
Yeah, all I know is that a Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis pick and roll at the end of games and clutch scenarios is going to be beautiful to watch. Maybe another question will be the potential spacing issues, with Anthony Davis at the 4. But, if that's a problem, you just swing Washington to the 4, Davis at the 5, and you have your little death lineup. Davis can play the 5. He will play the 5 when it does matter most. It's just during the regular season, it obviously is more beneficial to play him at the 4. Just a crazy deal for the Dallas side of things. I know a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about it, but you and I pretty happy about it for Dallas.
Don't understand why people hate it. It's just people looking at the names and saying, "Well, that's a bad trade. That's a bad trade." No, it's not. It's a great trade for them.
Yeah, it's a very, very solid deal for Dallas. Moving on, let's talk about the Lakers side of things as well, because they do end up getting probably it's close, but the better player you could make a case for in this deal, getting Luka Doncic. Now him and LeBron are on the same team. This is unbelievable. What timeline are we living in right now? The fact that Luka and LeBron are on the same team. Lakers, the last few games they've been playing without Anthony Davis. They're now, I believe, 5-1 without Davis. The only loss coming to Philadelphia on Tuesday. But, playing very well. They just picked up an impressive victory against the New York Knicks where they played exceptional defensively, particularly against Karl Anthony Towns. And then after the game, while LeBron James is at dinner with his family, all reports are saying, gets noted about this trade. He had no idea that this was going to happen. But the Lakers, with the success that they've been having without Davis the last couple of weeks, and the opportunity to get a guy like Luka Doncic, who can now be the face of the Lakers at only 25 years old, they think that this could set them up perfectly for now and the future. Jackson, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, like you're gonna get 80 LeBron and Luka, but for what, like a year, 2 years? Like, cool. But this creates so many more holes in this lineup, specifically at the center position, like big man positions. Like, is LeBron gonna start running the 5 again?
Yeah, dude, like we were talking about the Lakers' big man problems with Davis there and wanting them to get a 5, and they just traded Davis, and they got back Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. Morris, obviously, at the end of his career, but Kleber has always been a serviceable big, but none of them really starting caliber. Jackson Hayes has held the starting spot nicely over the last few games, but I tend to think that there has to be another move coming for the Lakers coming up because, I mean, interestingly enough, with this trade, besides, I guess, Max Christie, who had been playing well for them, as we mentioned before, none of the rumored, reported players that would have gone out in a trade for guys like Vucevic, Valanciunas, guys like that, they weren't included in this trade. So they could still have more moves ahead of them as the week goes along, coming up on the trade deadline.
But just looking at this trade from at least looking at it from where it's at now, I don't necessarily like this deal that much. I mean, even if they go out and get Vucevic, that lineup is one of the worst defensive lineups I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Luka, Reeves, LeBron, but probably Rui would probably go in a Vucevic deal.
I don't even know. I mean, right now as it stands, the lineup is going to be Reeves, Luka when he's back from his injury, with Rui, LeBron, and Jackson Hayes. And they've been playing Finney Smith and they've been off the bench. They've been playing Finney Smith and Vanderbilt at the bigs, and they're good, versatile defenders. When it comes to playoff time, we'll see how it goes. I mean, the Lakers right now, they're 28-19 at the 5th spot in the Western Conference. They've obviously been playing very, very well. Their best basketball of the season, and they just got Luka Doncic in the backcourt. Now, there is certainly going to be a learning curve with who has the ball in their hands, because that's another confusing thing with this trade. It's like Austin Reeves has been playing so well lately with him as the primary ball handler alongside LeBron. Now you're going to add another guy in the mix.
Who's going to guard Nikola Jokic? I mean, what, are you going to sit on your knees and pray while he's dropping 50 points or what?
Dude, that's why I think the Lakers have to have another move, because I do not think that they can realistically go forward with a center rotation of Hayes and Koloko and Vanderbilt and Finney Smith, who, the latter two aren't natural 5s.
And then how are you going to start Reeves and Luka? Who's guarding Kyrie? Who's going to go guard even Jalen Green at this point? Neither of them can guard Jalen Green.
I mean, honestly, Reeves is good enough. Reeves is good enough defensively to hold his. He would be the primary defense. I mean, I think it's easy. I mean, it's easy to forget, and the stigma is there for players like Reeves. But the reason that he got into the league and got minutes is because of his defense. He can play defense.
Yeah, but is that enough to cover up Luka? That dude can't guard a parked car.
Yeah, I mean,
let alone another NBA player.
I certainly think that there are a lot more questions with the Lakers than the Mavericks when it comes to this trade.
Like, looking at every team's got, at least every top team in the West has a good point guard, or 2 good guards at least, and then good big man, at least 1. I mean, the Lakers don't really match up well.
Jackson phones, I think, died there on that one. But no, he makes a great point there. I mean, the center position is certainly going to be a question for the Lakers going forward, I mean, this trade just absolutely unbelievable here. The Lakers and the Mavericks in this 3-team trade with Utah as well, making it happen. This is just going to be crazy to see what happens going forward. Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic traded for each other. I'm very curious to see how the Lakers will play in the Western Conference. And obviously with, having Luka and LeBron, I would say that they are, I think they're contenders. I think they're close to it. I don't know. I feel like this might be another situation where they have a bunch of star power. The Lakers just have a bunch of star power and it doesn't really work for this year. This is certainly a move that it's going to be more so for the future, with Luka Doncic only being 25 years old still and having all the accolades and the miles and the potential, awards going forward. With LeBron obviously in the twilight of his career. I think questions may now go to what happens with LeBron James with the Lakers. I don't think that they would trade him, but I never thought that anything like this would happen. So we'll see what happens, man. The Lakers and the Mavericks trading and making a trade, one of the biggest blockbuster deals that the sport has ever seen. Absolutely unreal. I think that's all that we got here on this emergency podcast episode. If I had to give grades for the trade for the Dallas Mavericks, I'm going to go with a B+. I'm going to go with a B+ because I do think that they do have the rationale of trading Luka, not being worried about signing him to a supermax, with potential injury conditioning issues going forward, and a chance to get Anthony Davis, who wants to win now, is a defensive-minded player and gives the Mavericks some of the best depth in the entire league. I'll give them a B+ for that. And for the Lakers, man, this sets them up for the future, right? This sets them up for the future. Luka Doncic is now going to be the face of the Lakers after LeBron goes, for a long time, at least it appears that way, right? So honestly, I'll give the Lakers a B+ as well, man. I'll give the Lakers a B+ as well. It looks better for the Mavericks for the now, but Lakers-wise, I like it for them moving forward. But let me know if you guys agree or disagree with that. Again, this historic trade, absolutely unreal. Never could have imagined anything like this ever occurring. But thank you guys so much for tuning into the Emergency Pod episode. If you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Cannot wait to record the next full podcast video. We'll get the full reactions from Nick and Joey on this as well. And, Jackson and I, our opinions may differ on this. Obviously, as I mentioned before, this video is being recorded an hour after the trade. So again, if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Be sure to tune in to the podcast on Tuesday when we'll have another reaction to this trade with all four of us here. But that's it, man. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching once again, and we'll catch you in the next one.